All right, this was asked for a couple times, and here it is, the tutorial. How to make cute little flower fairies. Now this is how I make them, and you can do it any way you want, but here's the baseline of how I do it. First thing you're going to need, no matter how you do it, is a pipe cleaner. Doesn't matter what color. I have some funky green, red, whatever, because this is going to be covered. So you're going to need a pipe cleaner, and then you're going to need something for the wings. I like to use this little meshy material, and I have all sorts of different colors. So whatever you like. Next, you're going to need yarn, so you're going to need one color for the hair and one for the skin tone. And you can get as weird or as cool or whatever. We're doing a fall fairy for this time around here. And then, of course, you need something for the dress. So I'm going to use these orange yellow flowers for our fall fairy. And you can use any color. As you can see, I've done blue, I've done purple. Get creative. And you will need some ribbon. This is going to be for her clothes. So something I always like to coordinate, this is going to go with my little orange flowers. Not sure what they are. So just, you're going to be a little fashion designer. This one I did with an iris, and I just found some purple ribbon. You're going to need a wooden bead for the head. Something that's big enough, not too big, something not too small, that won't look weird. And this is optional. I bought these little rhinestones, and I use it as a decorative for the back of the wings, and I'll show you how I do that. Or you can use just a pretty bead, whatever. And then if you want to hang your fairy, I use this pearl string. You can use ribbon, you can use pretty much anything. Another thing of yarn, and you absolutely need a needle and thread. Yes, there's sewing involved. Not my best thing, but it's not that bad. Okay, so first I get a 12-inch pipe cleaner, and you just basically cut a third off. So that works out in inches. It works out 4 inches for the arm piece, and then it'll leave 8 inches for the rest of the body. So basically, you're going to take a third off of however long it is. And you can make them teeny tiny, you can make them huge. This is just generally 2-to-1 on the pipe cleaner cutting. And then you're going to fold it in half. These are going to be the legs. You can't quite see it yet, but so the short one's going to be your arms, the long one's going to be your legs. Before we get too far, you have to get your hair ready. Now, I use yarn. I like how it turns out all curly and things. I have used, the regular doll hair you can buy, any embroidery thread, anything. But basically, I wrap it around my fingers. So if you want it really long hair, think of whatever you do here, it's going to be in half. Because the middle of this little bunch is going to be the hairline, or the part, I should say. So if I want mine really long, I would do it much longer than this. I would use my thumb and pinky instead of my 3 fingers. So if I went here, and I do about 6 times around, you're going to bunch it up. And then whatever's in the middle there, this is how long it's going to be. So this one would be pretty short. I want it a little longer, so I'm going to use 4 of my fingers here. And I just spread out my fingers based on how long it is. No exact science. But if you want it super long, you can use your whole hand. It doesn't matter. I have done it really long, and then I braided it, kind of like Elsa with white hair. It looks really cool. Have fun with it. All right. Whatever length you decide on, don't cut it just yet. This is just easier to manage. So you're going to put it all the way up in the crook of your bend here. All the way up. And try to keep it as even as possible. It looks weird, but it's going to be hair. And then you're going to stick these two into your bead for the head and pull it all the way up as far as you can go. Sometimes if you get really thick yarn, I find it doesn't go all the way through, but don't worry about it. Just pull it all the way through. Just like that. And you are going to see the middle, but once we floof this out, we can rearrange the hair. It'll cover it up. Sometimes I get lucky where I can pull it pretty far down and it kind of goes all the way. Just don't pull it all the way through the bead. There you go. Something like that. And this is an example of one that I've done. And with the white. And if you match the pipe cleaner to the hair, then it kind of disappears like that one. Especially if you do white hair, then it doesn't show. It will show more if you used a dark green pipe cleaner, for example. And that one I did with green, and that one I did with really long hair. So I'm just showing you the examples of different versions that you could do. All right, now we're going to do the legs, or put the arms on, I should say. Now, it does matter. If you put it down too far, the neck it gets a little weird. So you want to kind of, you'll see on this one, you just want an itty bitty little neck here. Just a couple millimeters there. Because if I have done it accidentally too long, and she just looks like a little giraffe. So yeah, you just got to get the right proportions. Just what looks right in your head. So I'm going to just kind of line this up in the middle and then twist. So the right arm turns into the left arm and the left arm turns into the right arm. Just like that. Ta-da! And then eventually you're going to loop the hands and the feet. So you're just going to make a little round end for the hands. And sometimes it's easier just when we're wrapping this in our string or our yarn, it might be easier to not pre-curl it. And then you're just going to make nice little big feet. So you're going to loop it about there. Again, the pipe cleaner is very forgiving, so now's the time to get your proportions right. It's like, yeah, that looks about right. And you got to imagine she's going to be in a dress and things like that, so a lot of things won't show. All right, now we're going to wrap it. If you haven't seen, I made little dolls for the, like dollhouse dolls. Same process. So basically, you're going to start out with just kind of a crisscross motion over the chest area, just to get yourself started. And the more you wrap, the bulkier it'll be. Now, I like to use yarn because that's what I have a lot on hand, but also it gives a nice bulk to it. If you use embroidery thread, which I have seen people make these with, just keep in mind it's going to be a lot thinner, and you might, if you want it to be a little bit thicker or chunkier, you might have to go over it quite a few times. So I'm just going to go up the arm, around the hand, and then go back down. And then go up the other arm, back down. Down the leg and back up. Down the leg and back up. And then you'll end up back in the middle. Once I get that all the way around, usually by the time I get to the end, I can tie it off a little bit. Again, the middle part is pretty much going to be covered. So, and then bend your legs how you want them. So she's got little feet. You could even do different colored yarns for the feet so that she has shoes on and things like that. And I have where it kind of gets a little unravelly, especially around the ends of the hands. I've put a dabble of clear glue on it just to hold it in place. This one's a little rough. And you can see here that that's a completed one. So we got to put some little pants on her. And a dress. So first we're going to pick up which ribbon we want. I like this one. I just kind of save little scraps here and there, and it's purely for this kind of stuff. So how I make shirts, and you guys are probably awesome sewers and you can do a lot better, but I put across here on that side, and then I put another on the other side, and I call it a shirt. So I'm going to cut 2 little pieces. I put another piece on the other side. Okay, easy. You can be a fashion designer. And then I'm just going to sew right where my thumbs are. And we'll make a little shirt for her. Once I get this far, and then I'm just going to wrap each leg. Just enough so she has little shorts on. I try to make my life a little easy with sewing. I'm not the best sewer, but you could even just hot glue this on. Just something to cover. So what I like to do is kind of make a little mini skirt, and then I sew up the middle, and then I cut it so it looks like little shorts. There we go. We got her little jumpsuit underneath her dress here. This fairy is going to be in the theme of fall, so I found some pretty orange and yellow flowers here. And I just go to the dollar store, load up on what's pretty, and they make great skirts. So just pull it apart, and then what you're going to do is, because she won't fit through that middle hole the way it is, you're just going to have to cut the hole out a little bit. And so that these, especially flowers like this one, where it's a lot of little roughly layers, I do it, when I put it back on her, I do it backwards. So I take the longest one that's normally on the top, that'll be the bottom layer, so that it kind of falls down and floofs, if that made sense. So here's what I mean. I'm going to start with the smallest one at the top and then work my way down to the biggest piece. I've done roses where they're all the same size, so you just kind of put it back together the way it looks right. Again, you're just a fashion designer for Little Fairy. And once you get it kind of where you want it, I'm just going to tack it down with my needle and thread here. just in spots so that it doesn't fall down when you're hanging it up or anything. I like to put these on the Christmas tree and things like that. Now once we got this tacked down so where we know that it's not going to fall off her, and also notice that I have not touched the hair at all, so just keep it that way for now. Believe me, trial and error of making many of these. Just leave that until the end, so otherwise you're gonna get, your needle and thread's gonna get tangled in it and all sorts of things. And also make sure you go all the way to where her body is when you're sewing it on. The more you put little tacks in here, the more sturdy. I know that's not proper grammar, but the sturdier it will be, and it won't fall apart on you. And then I'm just going to put a little belt on her, and this covers any ugly little stitches. And also, you just got to remember which direction her face is. I don't paint the faces. You certainly could add little eyes and little lips on there and stuff like that. I kind of like it plain. That's just my style. Again, this is just a baseline. You could do whatever you want. And I'm just going to tack this little belt on. What's nice is we are going to, unlike like the little dollhouse dolls, we're not going to see the back because I'm going to stick wings on here. So make sure all your ugly stitches are in the very back. Because we'll cover those right up. And it gets tougher and tougher to sew too, the more layers you got on there. That's why I have pliers there. Yep, see? It gets thicker and thicker and thicker. All right, we got her to about where we want her. And now we can deal with her hair. Time to get a hairstyle going. Now you notice that this part is still showing. It won't in a minute. So we're just going to cut our ends off. And this is why I prefer yarn, because I like how it turns out all curly and wild. Kind of like the brave little girl. And then I'm just going to separate every strand. Now we got our little wild fairy here. And you'll notice that her part is, you can't see the pipe cleaner anymore because the way we kind of floof it up. You just kind of have to put it over the top there. And I have, when I want to get some fancy ones, is I've braided it and put it back. I like to do it really long and then do some braids in the front, 2 in the front and then tie it in the back. And you could also put a glue line from cheek all the way around the back to the other cheek and then kind of glue it down so it stays down. Either way, mine, after you put wings and things on it, the hair kind of does its own thing. Speaking of wings, let's do these. Now what I do is make squares. Mine are about 5 by 5. I have done it where they're little tiny ones. I've done really big ones, but just make sure it's square so that you can get the right effect. And we're going to need 2 for each wing. So you're going to fold it up like a triangle, like this. And then what I do is I fold it again so that I can find the center line. And what I do is I just put 1 stitch right in that center line so that I can get started. So I always double string and then I just back through and make a starting point here. All right, now that you know where your middle is, I open it back up, keep the triangle here, and then you're just going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way to that point. In as straight as line as possible. If it's not perfectly straight, it's not the end of the world. Don't worry about it. Just go from your middle point to that corner. And it should look like that. From there to there. You can see mine is wiggly squiggly. And then the magic is you're just going to pull that tight. Zoop. And ta-da! There's your wing. You could stop there. And then I wrap it around a couple times and then tie it off. And that'll tie that down. Now you could do the single wing. I like the double, so I'm going to make one more exactly the same way. Now I don't cut off the end on the second one. I flip them so that it's short end to short end. And then I wrap these two together, just like that. So I squish it together, wrap it around, and tie it off. And then you got kind of like a butterfly wing. Now because that white wing was a little hard to see, I'm going to do it again in this green tealy color. So yeah, that was too hard to see. So let's do it in green. And I'm going to use bright red thread. Normally I would not do that, but this is just purely for your tutorial reasons. So I got 2 squares, 5 by 5. We're going to fold it diagonally and then fold it the other way so we can find our center. So fold it diagonally. Fold it the other way to find our center. Put a starting stitch in the beginning, in the corner there. Open it up. Straight line from our bottom stitch all the way to the top peak there. We'll just wiggle it through. Up, down, up, down, up, down. And you can use any type of material for this wing. It works exactly the same. Once you have your line there, this one's much straighter. And then you're just going to gather it up. So you just go, ooh, and there's a wing, a magical wing. And then you just wrap it around a couple times and tie it off. I do 2, put the short end to short end, wrap it around, and tie it off. Now normally I would use thread that matches the wing. This is just to show you, but I will use these because I have a couple fairies that need some wings, and I think I have one that will match this perfectly. And we'll cover up that string in the middle. All right, back to our fall fairy here. She's all ready for her wings, and these will work perfectly. We'll use the white ones. But first, now you got to do this in a lot of layers. If you want to hang her up, I do like them with the hanging because they kind of look like they're flying around. You're going to just cut a long enough string that it'll be away from, however long you want it, really. I like to do them long enough for like a Christmas tree or something like that. And then what I do is I'm just going to sew these onto her back. This is why we put all the ugly stitches on the back. They'll all be covered. And I have in the past, I've done where I don't feel like my stitches aren't covering it or something. I put a glop of hot glue or something in there. Hot glue is great with material because it does kind of stick really well in the fibers. Just a little added security, especially if this is going to be the hanging point. People are going to tug on this. I've sold them in craft shows and things like that. I always think of how people are going to handle these because they don't know how I made it. Not usually, you know. So they can be pretty rough. As if you do any craft shows, people can be rough on your stuff sometimes. So I'm a little paranoid, and I always double, triple secure these things. Once you got your hangers down. Now, if you didn't do the hangers, then you would go straight to the wings. And I'm just going to sew that onto the back. But before I get too far, I want to be a little extra special. And I have my little rhinestones here. I just got a bunch of these from Amazon or something like that. I forget where I got these. I got one box for maybe $10 or something like that. And I've had this box forever and ever. They last me quite a while. I don't use them that often. I mean, even if I made 50 fairies, I probably wouldn't go through all of them. But as you can see, it's going to get tougher and tougher the more layers you got. And my string always gets tangled up, and just take your time. So I'm going to string through the body, the wings, and my rhinestone. Or you could put a button on the back, or you don't have to put anything back there. But I like to put something there just to cover all our little stitches. And once you got it all set, you're going to have to floof her and fix her hair again. And we got our little fall fairy. Very cute. I like fall. I like the fall colors. And actually, this is really close to my own personal hair. My actual hair color. I'm a redhead. And this is where I remembered, hey, I could use those blue wings. I got my little blue fairy here with her purple dress, and this will match perfectly. So let's stick that on while we're at it. Let's be productive here. She's definitely fall colors too. All those purples and maroons and teals. Very pretty. There we go. There's our little blue fairy. She's got floofier hair. And ta-da! Our whole fairy army is here. Some I'm hanging, some I don't. Here's one that I did the little tiny wings on. My little girl here with the pink tutu-like flower, she hasn't earned her wings yet. But these are very fun to make. I go a little crazy sometimes. And I just make tons and tons and tons. And I bring them to my Christmas shows and people love them. So have fun. Again, you can put faces on them or not. It doesn't matter. You can get really fancy with their hair. And you could put things in their hair. Put crowns on. Put little flowers in their hair. Just make them all pretty. And I have done a little boy fairy. I had one. Oh, there he is. He's kind of like a Peter Pan. And I've used the leaves from the flowers. And I've made kind of just a leaf like fairy, you know. Don't have to always be flowers. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was requested a couple times, and they are very fun to make. And I hope you have fun making them too. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!